All right, welcome back to another track day report. And as you can see, also happy to be heading out in the daylight. That's right, no more getting up before sunrise, packing everything up and driving in the dark. Fortunately, time is on our side, but the downside is it is getting a bit warmer, and that means we're getting close to the time when track days take a break for the summer because it gets absurdly hot here in the Southwest. But anyway, for this session, we headed out to Arizona Motorsports Park, which is one of my favorite local tracks, and also for one of my favorite track day events of the year, which is a Platinum Track Day. And so these are a little bit different than your standard weekend track day. They usually take place on a Friday morning, running from about 8 a.m. to noon or 12:30. And basically all they are is 4 hours of open track time with a low car count. Like that's it. No run groups, no races, no time trials, no nothing. Just open track time, and you can get a ton of driving in. You just get a ton of laps, and you don't really have to worry about traffic at all. You might come across another car or two, but everyone is really relaxed and it's just a fun environment. And these events also really suit the Tesla because you don't need to plan for charging, and you don't need to figure out when a charging break will fit in with your next session and everything else and run around. So it makes it really easy. So again, with the Tesla, you can go, you show up, drive as much as you want, take a break, head to the charger, come back and keep going. So super well suited to the car. So what we'll do in this video is we'll do an overview of the Arizona Motorsports Park track. We'll walk through how the day went and then show some lap footage. But all in all, it was a great day, and I always enjoy these. All right, so jumping into an overview of the AMP, I'll just call it AMP, Arizona Motorsports Park. So jumping into an overview of the AMP track, first, one of the coolest things about AMP is this. Yep, it has nothing to do with the track at all or the cars. This track sits right next to Luke Air Force Base and right next to the runways, as you can see here on the map. And let me tell you, on Friday morning, everyone's going to work. Fortunately, we're at the track getting to drive, but all those pilots are going to their day job. And let me tell you, they have quite a day job and they put on quite a show. So Friday morning, you're headed to the track and planes are taking off left and right. Like I must have seen at least 20 planes. These are, I think, mostly F-35s. I saw some F-16s as well. And it's just simply an amazing sight, and they're absolutely deafening. Like you'll hear those over every car on the track, and it's really, really a treat to see, and just one of the best experiences of being there on a Friday morning. I love it. And it can almost be a little distracting since some of the straightaways at AMP head right at the runway. So you can be heading down the straightaway and you'll see planes lined up for takeoff right in front of you. It's amazing to see. And yet I have to remind myself, like, okay, wait, focus on the corner. It's coming up very fast, but really, really awesome. And, you know, one of the treats of this facility. All right, so let's talk about the track itself. All right, for the purposes of this, we'll go with the start-finish line, which Track Addict uses, which is right outside the pits. So you cross the start-finish line and you come into turn 1, which is a slow-speed right-hander. Then you track it out pretty wide to the left to set yourself up for the next set of corners, which are, let's call them turns 2 and 3, which are a short little S-curve, which leads you onto a back straight. Now, I like to come in late. Well, I try to come in late to the apex on turn 2, so I can get a good as straight a shot as possible through the kind of left-hand turn 3 and onto the straightaway. So as you head down the long straightaway, you're going to want to stay to the left to set yourself up for the long right-hander coming up at the end of the straightaway. And I think there are a couple of ways to approach this. You can think of it as like a double apex corner, and you can kind of break across the line almost and come out into the middle of the corner and kind of hit your first apex there on the way in, almost under braking, and then your second apex on the way out. Or you could just kind of follow the arc of the corner, staying a little tighter. I tried both and I'm not sure which one I like better, but the key is as you go through the corner, you want to set yourself up roughly after what would be the first apex, and you're in the middle of the corner. You want to set yourself up to get on the gas as quickly as possible for the next straight coming up. So you kind of want to, in the middle of the corner, get yourself up straight and then get on the gas and come straight out. And you can track out, you know, all the way to the left on the way out to carry the most speed down the next straight. At the end of the straight, you enter a hard braking zone for almost 180-degree left turn. And actually, it opens up a bit on the exit, and I'll throw the track map up here so you can see. But, bring it in, apex tight, and then accelerate as hard as you can to carry the speed onto the next straight. Just be careful on the exit that you don't track out too much and drop a wheel. It can be pretty easy, and you could tend to understeer coming out of that corner. So heading down the straightaway, at the end of the straight, you're going to head into a fast left-right section. I like to brake pretty hard early before the left-hander to set the car up and stabilize it. Going through the corner and allows me to accelerate out and get ready for the right-hander coming up. I also like to stay mid-track. You just don't need all the track in this section, and staying about middle allows you to easily hit the apex of the right-hander. Then you have a short sprint down into a tight right-hander, a hard braking zone, and set yourself up for the last long straight of the lap. There's a slight kink in the track as you head into the right-hander, and you basically just have to cut it and straight line it as much as possible to set up your braking for the tight turn. All right, as you head down the last straight of the lap, you're going to move over to the left once you pass the sound and check area. You're going to move over to the left and set yourself up for a fast entry right-hander, and you want to carry as much speed as you feel comfortable with coming into it. And so I usually brake, again, similar to the other S's, I'll brake before the turn just so the car is nice and stable coming into that light right-hander. And then you have a sharp left turn, which you hug very closely, followed by another kind of sharp right, which are slow speed corners, and you're just looking to hit the apex as close as possible. Then a quick sprint and one final left turn. Again, look for that apex coming in, nice and tight, and that completes your lap. So let's talk about how the day went. Overall, really, really good session. Got a bunch of laps in, and the lap times were actually a little higher than I was expecting. So my best time was, I think, a low 152, like 152.2. I thought I would get into the 151s, but I didn't quite crack it. And that was quite a bit off from what I saw in the simulator. I think in Assetto Corsa, using similar tires, similar setup, I was in the 148s. And so maybe that's just the difference between the simulator and reality. But all in all, pretty good. I think my tires are getting a little bit worn out. There's not much left on the outsides in particular. The one thing that was challenging all day was heat. After just 2 or 3 laps, the battery would start to heat up quite a bit. As you can see in the video, the brakes were getting warm, but that wasn't an issue at all. So it really became a game of managing the battery temperature. And I'm actually not sure what was going on. I haven't seen this before. It wasn't particularly hot out. I think maybe it was 70 something degrees. And the one thing I can think is I did not leave track mode on very long before heading out onto the track. So I don't think it was in a very cool state before heading out and putting a lot of stress on it. So I think maybe a learning for next time is to give track mode a decent amount of time to cool off the battery. And then did notice was when the battery got hot, and again, you can see in some of the video, I just kept driving it. Once or twice I pulled off to let it cool down, and it cooled down very quickly. But once again, half a lap into going back out, it's back and hot again. So I just ran with it. Lap times dropped off significantly. I think if you're running, let's say high 152s, you were losing, once the pack got hot, 5 to 6 seconds, seeing 158s, and then when it got really hot, up to 2 minutes. Acceleration was just gone. The top speed was not there, but still fun, and you still got to play with the car in the corners and all that fun stuff that comes from the track. And you'll see in some of the footage later, during one of the sessions, I was following a Corvette and basically keeping the same pace, and it was a ton of fun. But once that pack started to heat up, it was game over. Couldn't hang with him at all. So all in all, good day. So for the rest of the video, I threw a lap in, I think one of the better laps with some data, some footage of following that Corvette around, and you can see kind of how it drops off as the battery's getting warmer.